Hello and welcome to the Black Tower. Sorry, I have no idea what the hell. Okay, so I was wanting to do a video, and I'm going to have to entitle it something close to this. The Necronomicon, a love story. Alright, so everybody comes to their magic, comes to paths, comes to their own practice, their own beliefs, their own philosophies, their own theories. The only thing that they do in their life that is their life. Everybody comes to their own way. Now, but I'm going to talk about mine. And mine is the Necronomicon. Now, whether it's fake, whether it's made up, whether it's whatever the fuck, the only thing I can say is thank you, Simon. Thank you, thank you, thank you for bringing this wonderful fucking book. A lot of people don't know me. I was raised up Southern Baptist and Catholic and a bunch of other really weird stuff, and just studying into religions and philosophies and ritual practice was really cool, especially with Catholicism. But in my mid-teens, I was working on becoming an ordained minister, all this other working and everything. And about the time I was about 17, I had a really bad time in my life where, it was like, I never felt God answer me. Hell, I think God never come to visit me. I have no idea. I lost a lot of people I loved coming up, people that were good for me, people that were nice to me, and it was like, just left me with the shit. So, it kind of colored and skewed my opinion on God or the divine or whatever. And at the time I was about 18, 19, I had a brother tossed a book at me. It was Necronomicon, the spell book, the 50 names, all this other stuff with Marduk, which I thought it was pretty weird, but I was like, whatever. So I read it, and I'm like, okay, I need tea lights, I need paper, I need a black marker, and I need something called sandalwood incense, cedar incense, I don't know. Well, lucky me, I had a little cedar box, and I was like, I'm not going to burn my box, so I go to the dollar store, and I buy this little dollar get-up of sandalwood, and I sit there, and I draw out the seal and all this other stuff, my two little tea lights, and I got my candle, and I'm sitting there, and I'm doing that Zakia Kampa, Ziana Kampa, Zidingera Kia Kampa, Zidingerana Kampa, and I'm going through all this, and all of a sudden, I had this particular spirit I had chosen. Wasn't expecting anything, had no idea. I was just, what I know as a 19-year-old, just being goofy, doing something childish, silly, stupid, whatever. And had a strange effect. No sooner had I lit my incense candles and did the calling, than all of a sudden I had this really weird experience of just hearing what sounded like a train whistle. Like a train moving down the tracks real loud, Except here's the problem. There were no train tracks within 200 miles of me, so I have no fucking clue what the hell. And all of a sudden I could feel his presence about me. And it wasn't threatening, it wasn't anything like that, and I was like, holy shit, it showed up. Later on I was come to find out, I'm quite psychic, clairaudience, clairvisual, whole 9 yards, which at this time didn't know anything about, Later on, come to find out, empath, and, and any kind of psychic skill, I excel at, and, once I could chalk it up as, just that was weird as hell, the next night I decided to do another one, and this time it was like a strong wind, like a tornado in my room, and I'll never forget it, because it was like, making the walls shake and shit. I'm like, holy shit, and had a really profound experience, and my only thought was, okay, I need the whole book. I don't want just the spell book. I want the book this is all based on. I want to understand it more. I want to do more. I want to be more. And at any rate, it changed me. It for once, God appeared. God came. couldn't help that I couldn't see or hear anything more than just, this wind or a train or, you know, uh, all this, that, and the other. But it was what it was, and it actually appeared. It actually came. God never came to me. God never fucking showed up on the scene. His child is going to spread his good word. He never showed up. Well, where the hell was he when I needed him? Nowhere. But I tell you what, though, I went and actually bought the Simon's Necronomicon, the full book, and I read through it. And from the beginning of reading about the elder gods, I believed it. Something just said, this is real. And not because I was seeking for truth, because I didn't give a shit. I didn't believe in anything, so it didn't really matter to me. But because of this working, because of all this, I went and I kept doing the calls and all this other stuff, And the book tells you, oh, you're not supposed to call upon the powers of Marduk until you've passed his gate and all this other stuff. And I was like, then why the hell are you selling a spell book? That must be for the extra $1. I don't know really what that's about. I know, though, that for someone that did not walk no gates, those spirits came later on as I developed psychically and was able to actually communicate, talk with, invoke, evoke, conjure, so forth and so on. These powers, they were too real. They, if this shit's all made up in my head, how do you have effect like that? And you can say, well, you've got serious issues, or, you have some kind of instability, or, something like that. You don't know me. You don't know my life. You don't know the kind of person I am. It's not that I need something to believe in so hard that, I'm willing to believe that Santa Claus is fucking real. Well, I know there's never been a fat jolly bastard in a red suit jumping down a damn chimney. Hell, I've lived in too many homes that didn't have a fucking chimney. How the fuck did I get Christmas presents? Here's an idea. Mom and Daddy worked their ass off, and allowed me as a child to enjoy a concept that, a kind, benevolent, jolly old man would actually come into my home and leave me gifts for no reason other than just because. To me, that spoke of love. When these beings came, spoke of love, because you can say, hey, Waylon, and yeah, you're gonna get my attention because you're saying my name, because like anybody on this earth, when you hear your name called, you kind of turn around, you look, you see what's going on, but you don't actually walk towards somebody. You don't actually go towards them unless it feels like something you really want to do, unless it's just a path you're guided to do. So when these beings came to me, it absolutely, I just took it to understand that, it's love. Because in my heart, I absolutely adore spirit over flesh. Not in some kind of warped, wicked way or anything like that. I understand that both are just as important as the other. But the thing about it is, look around you. Walk this earth a little bit. Meet others. You see cruelty. You see ignorance. You see violence. You see judgmentalism. You see hatred. You see all kinds of things. You see sorrow. You see greed. But the thing is there are good things. There are kind people, compassionate people, kind, loving, caring. But you never hear about those because there's not a lot of them. It's just not. The way this world is wired, we're all wired for self. It's just about ourselves. What can I get? What can I have? What do I deserve? You got all these aggressive things, and there's nothing wrong with aggression. Hell, you can't be passive or everything's going to run you over, but you don't have to be uncaring and uncool about it, Open your heart, let that divine fire drive you. But, I'm getting a little bit off topic here, just a little bit. But, when these things came to me, it was like, holy shit, man, why would these things even come to me? All the book says, oh, they haven't been properly called in thousands of years, blah, blah, blah. Okay, maybe not. I sit there and I think, oh, I'm special. No. Once again, I was young and curious and it was like, wow, that's weird shit, Some actually showed up. But the thing about it was that they came. They actually came when called. They actually appeared. My life didn't go to shit because of these things, As a matter of fact, as I kept calling, as I kept working with them, hell, I kept noticing sometimes, man, some shit that should have, physically killed me or, should have been a threat was completely removed out of the way physically. I can't prove that because it's, like I had a camcorder and recorded it, and sometimes, anybody who's as honest about shit, there's some things you just can't fucking explain. You just can't, no matter one way or another, Even if somebody else saw it, and, that's just, you're both sitting there going, wow, that was cool shit, or wow, that was weird, You can't prove any of that, and then again, the beauty of magic, the beauty of just being able to create, of being able to work with these powers, that is beautiful, If that doesn't stir love inside you, if that doesn't move your heart, if that just doesn't move you, you're missing it. But these things, they react the way you treat them, the way you react to them, And to me, it was a love story, man. I swear, I fell in love with this book. I was like, this is my Bible. I looked at the Christian's Bible, and it's chock so full of holes. They've got parts missing, pieces gone, and all this other stuff. Necronomicon does too. See, it's not about the book and it's not about the belief. It's about what works and what does not. What answers? What doesn't answer? And for me, the Necronomicon, it didn't just have words and just, oh, if you do this and blah, blah, blah. I wasn't after anything. I just wanted to know if something was real, if something actually gave a fuck. Well, when you call and something shows up, whether they give a shit or not, hey, they showed the fuck up. You can interpret that any way you want. But when these same powers actually protect you, actually watch over you, actually hold you in place so that you don't get smacked by a vehicle that you didn't even see, dude, that is beautiful. And to me, I fell in love. That was my Bible. Christians could have their Bible. Muslims could have their Quran. The Buddhists could have their Buddha. Yeah, they could have their Dharma. I didn't care, the Hindus could have theirs. I didn't care because I've never cared what anybody else believes, what anybody else thinks is the truth. I've always believed in what I know to be true for me. And what I know to be true for me was that these beings were not, they weren't vengeful beings. They weren't, oh, you're going to hell. No, they came when called, first off. And then the more and more I worked with them, like, from everything from drawing their seal on my arm or, carrying their seal in my pocket or anything, these beings were there, it was just beautiful. And to me, it was what it was. It was the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen in my life. Even 20 years later, I still look and I'm like, I'm still awe in these things because I didn't look at these beings with fear or even with animosity. I didn't look at them in that way. I looked at them like a child would look at something spectacular and amazing in pure fucking awe. Holy shit, what was that? Not fear, no. Just an open-hearted curiosity like, wow. And for some reason, these things react to that. These things act most kind when you react to them in this manner. When you treat them with this kind of reverence, not like in worship. Oh, you can only do, you're the greatest. No, you don't have to do that. Never had to do that. All you have to do, light a candle, light your incense, let it go, rock and roll, I just recently decided that I would actually do the gate walking. And the very first gate walking I had was intense. It was unlike anything I'd ever experienced in my life. At the end of it, I was absolutely drained but wide awake, and I couldn't believe it. I'd never experienced anything like that. While I was busy waiting on everything in my life to turn out right before I actually did the actual workings right, Yeah, I've done the workings. I've walked the gates in a way, not in the way the book described, but I figured, hey, I'm going to do this once. I'm going to do this. And when I did, it just made me respect and love it even more. I look forward to my next one, and just in all the workings, don't expect anything. Remain open about it. And let these spirits prove to you themselves that they're real. Don't expect anything, because when you start to expect, oh man, I don't know what would happen. Do I think they'd come and rip your head off? Nah, I doubt that. But try to do it without any kind of expectation. Do it with just openness, just a willingness to, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But open your heart to it. Let your heart beat to the rhythm of this magic, because it is alive. These ancient people, they went through the exact same things we do nowadays, a little bit different, The tyranny of kings and rulers, the rich versus the poor. The rich have always been known as gods, and, the poor have always been seen as the servants of these gods. But that's not true. It's just not true. But the world would have you believe this. To take control of your own life, your own destiny, your own path. To discover for yourself what makes you unique, what makes you beautiful, what makes you awesome. You can't do this listening to everyone else. Their opinion, the status quo, you can't go with. You have to let it go. You have to believe in just you. And you have to remain open. And in a way, these gods, that's what they give you.